Hey friend, in this episode, we are talking about how to remove overwhelm from your life. All right. Hello, Harold. We're back.
And we holla holla.
You always look so nervous when I say that.
Because I don't know.
We are the Freedom Parents.
Freedom
we
Parents.
are here to talk.
Where are we? We're not here in our house either.
No. Yep. If you're watching on YouTube, we're changing things up a bit over here.
Where we at?
This is Freedom Parents on vacation. No, not really.
No, not really. It's staycation.
Staycation, yes. Our recording studio for the day at the Princess Hotel.
Yeah.
Kind of nice. I'm glad we did this.
Because our recording studio at home was taken over by the kids.
Because we had a moment where we realized that our recording day was coming up and suddenly we felt slightly overwhelmed at having to juggle all the things and get the kids out the house, or what are they going to do, and helping with the activities. And then
I didn't feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, almost. But
I just said I'm going to go book a motherfucking hotel,
Yes.
and that's what we're going to do.
exactly. So we want to dive into this topic of being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
As coaches, it's something that we talk a lot about with people that we mentor.
Yeah.
It's something that we have experienced,
Yeah.
and that you know what? I think you'll never not feel this, but your response to it is everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of that make or break situation where how we learn how to respond to this feeling called overwhelm can lead you in, it's like a fork in the road. Your response to it can lead you into the direction of your dreams and achieving your goals, or just like this never ending loop of like Monopoly. Do not pass go. Do not, I don't know. I've never played that game a whole lot, but good starting feeling like where you're constantly just starting back over again and again and again, you know, it becomes this not great habit loop. So,
You know what I think would be interesting is to kind of set up like a 60-second, 90-second kind of time when you felt overwhelmed. Like what was going on? Like to have people kind of wrap their head around, seeing if they...
I have a motto now. It's not overwhelm, it's opportunity. And it came from this point in our coaching business where we were pushing through to, some people won't know what this means, some people will, Integrated National. And it was a big deal for us. This next milestone in our business was huge because it actually meant that I could come home full time.
Yeah, it represented a certain income that allowed
us to take a next step in our goals, you know, for our family. It was a huge deal, and we were so close to it. And I had a moment. I remember I was in our kitchen. I feel like we're always in our kitchen in these pivotal moments.
Yeah, it's true.
I was in our kitchen, and we had 2 kids then, and they're, you know, little and loud, and it's in the evening and I'm tired. And there's this thing that pops up that's my next opportunity and really kind of like closing in on this goal. And it required me to quote unquote work and be on the phone even for just a short amount of time. Really, it wasn't going to actually change our day that much by doing this thing that was going to help us reach that goal. But nonetheless, in that moment, I felt so overwhelmed by everything around me. It was this tightening in my chest. And I realized that typically in this situation, I shut down and I don't do the thing that moves me or us forward.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment, I decided, I just had a epiphany. I said, oh my God, it's typically my opportunities that I choose to see as overwhelming.
Mm.
And I made a pact with myself then, and from that moment on, that no more will I look at my opportunities as something overwhelming.
So that's a paradigm shift. So for me, it was what I found in myself, and I find correlates with a lot of people that we mentor, is overwhelm is associated or direct correlation of procrastination.
Mm.
So when I would feel overwhelmed or had that feeling in the past, it was typically because I had all these things that were stacking up in front of me, these tasks that I had been putting off, And they were just compounding and compounding to my own, no one's fault but myself. And all of a sudden I feel overwhelmed because I've been procrastinating. And then I started to look at it. I was like, this word overwhelmed is just like a scapegoat to me procrastinating things that I know I should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, it's an unnecessary emotion to put myself through. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we just feel like it's a distant, I really hate the word. I don't like the word hate either, but there's sometimes I tie it to something because it's so disempowering.
Yeah.
Right?
It's kind of like this really broad catch-all for every reason why you shouldn't go after your goals.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like,
it's that scapegoat.
Okay, I'm not going to do this because I'm so overwhelmed.
I'm so overwhelmed. Like if it's like a title or a badge.
This can't be right because I'm so overwhelmed right now.
Yeah. It's a badge of honor to say, just a cop-out. It's a cop-out.
It's really more, what I started picking apart from that for myself was it was really more of a mental health issue. Mm-hmm. And though like definitely not something to wear as a badge of honor. No, not to be like, oh, I'm just like.
Now it's not to deny the emotions that you're feeling.
Yeah.
But it's to acknowledge that it's not that big.
It's real, but it's not debilitating. Actually, it doesn't have to be debilitating.
That's it. Yeah.
And the only way to actually work your way out of this is like overwhelm. If you really think about it, is really actually anxiety.
Yeah.
When people are in that state in which they suddenly just feel like everything, their whole body's tight and they don't know what to do next and they were just about to give up and you feel so frazzled.
And one of the bigger
anxiety.
things is to take a deep breath. Actually, breathing is powerful. And for some people, that's just corny and it's too it's like the things that are too simplistic. People are so funny. Humans. It's like the things that are too simplistic, they're too simple that we don't want to believe that it can work. So then we want something that's complicated, but then it's too complicated. So therefore, that's why I don't do it. You know what I'm saying? So then they stay in this middle ground of not accomplishing anything. But so it's to stop, be still, breathe, and it'll change the physiology.
Yes.
I couldn't get that word out.
I know what you mean though. I'm like, yes, this is exactly it.
There's a tongue tie there. I'm not even going to try and say it now.
Physiology?
Yeah, like the whole chemistry.
Yeah.
Like when you stop and breathe like that and it resets your mind to get clear and not get caught into the emotions, like you said, the debilitating emotions of I'm overwhelmed or whatnot, because it's real, but you create it to be real. Like you create that, you give that power. So it's to stop, breathe, change the whole chemistry of your body. You get clear, you get clarity, you become more conscious and not acting out of unconsciousness.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you look at the task ahead of you, because I've felt that way really like a lot in the past. I don't rarely anymore. And now I know how to get out of it by stopping, challenging, breathing, resetting, and then saying, oh, wow, I have this feeling because of these 3 things.
Yeah.
Now, how do I act to resolve that? Or what can I do now? Or can I even do anything now? Sometimes you can't even do anything now.
Right.
So then you're getting so as Dave Blanchard would say, people have the proclivity to catastrophize everything, which means they get this dopamine rush because all of a sudden that overwhelmed feeling, they build it up to be something they can't control. And all of a sudden the whole chemistry changes and it creates all kinds of anxiety and stress and health issues. And it makes them kind of feel alive, but it's all unnecessary. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
It's all self-made.
Yep. And it's a never-ending habit loop. And it's that you don't actually want to feel either. Like you don't want to get that rush off of being that way.
So I think the first thing to do, well, one is awareness of knowing that you're creating that. Mm-hmm. Number 2, you don't have to feel that way and create that. Number 3, I think the biggest thing for us was removing that word. Yeah. So now I still very occasionally will say that. Mm-hmm. But then I catch myself. But it's more from trying
to look within and be like, okay, what is actually going on here? Is it procrastination?
What's the trigger?
Is it avoidance? Is it lack of clarity and why we're working on X, Y, and Z? Is it lack of desire? Yeah. And then not like, and don't sit in those things so long. Answer them as if you're taking an exam on yourself and be like, which one is it? Oh, yeah, I've been avoiding. I've been procrastinating. I'm not prioritizing things. So they feel like they're happening all at once when in reality, this should be happening at this time of the day and Okay, let's fix that. Let's try to course correct here.
Yeah.
That's really
But
powerful.
I think, I really do. I think if you get to where you remove it from your vocabulary, you don't give it the power.
Right.
I know it sounds simple, but so you may think it. So then it's an awareness tool.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in my mind, I'm overwhelmed, but I would not like verbalize it, because then you're giving power. You're putting it out there. You're putting it out there and then, that sets a whole frequency of where you're operating and your emotions and your mood. So I think you capture that thought. Now, all this might sound complicated or might sound hokey pokey. I don't know, but all I know is it works. And I know I've read this in many books, and then we apply it. So capture the thought that creates awareness. I feel overwhelmed. Capture the thought. So now it enters your mind. Capture it. It's an awareness tool now. So now it's a tool. So now it's an alibi. It's an ally for you, right? I'm aware. Why do I feel this way? Don't verbalize it, because then you're giving power to it. But then you're aware why. You look and see what you're probably procrastinating on or what's causing that emotion. And then you react to that. Is there something you can even do about it? Maybe, maybe not.
Well, and to your awareness piece, I don't even call it overwhelm anymore.
Yeah.
I actually look at myself and honestly say, I'm going to ask myself, why are you feeling anxious? Look up the meaning of overwhelm actually for me real quick, because this will be interesting, because I don't think it actually is all that negative sometimes. But I don't actually, I don't label myself overwhelmed anymore. I just call it what it is. And when I'm feeling like that, it's really anxiety.
Well, that's funny. Overwhelmed is the same as overpowered. And I said, don't give it power.
It's good.
Defeated easily by a greatly superior opponent. Overwhelmed. Yeah. Yeah. That's why I see it as I see it as an enemy. That's what I'm saying. So I never wanted to give it power.
It's interesting too, because you can use overwhelmed in a positive way too. People can say, I am overwhelmed by the joy and support that come from other people.
Sure, but that's
what do you want to be overwhelmed by, in life? Feeling defeated and overpowered, or by goodness and results and encouragement, or, we have to really just kind of shift our perspective. There's a really great book by Max Lucado, Anxious for Nothing. And I believe I read in this book, and since we're talking about overwhelm, but since really what it is anxiety, is that anxiety is a mixture of fear, sadness, and perceived loss or regret.
Yeah.
So in that moment of feeling so overwhelmed, when you're feeling anxious, it's you're coming up with all these things in your head of like what you need to do, or what happens if you don't do it, or what needs to be done better. And you're living outside of yourself. You're not being still. You're not being in the moment. You're not breaking it down to the next possible step. And I think you mentioned that earlier. It really boils down to taking a breath, getting some oxygen in your body, changing your physiology, and thinking logically about the moment, instead of trying to defeat yourself as if you can't or you have no power in the situation in the current moment.
Yeah, this other definition says overwhelm. Figuratively, overwhelm means to overcome with a strong feeling or intense emotion.
Wow.
Often these are negative emotions. Feeling overwhelmed is a common anxiety symptom. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a simple one. I think today's a simple one. I don't think we need to dwell on it anymore.
No, it's not a badge of honor. It's not something that you can't change.
Remove it from your vocabulary. Don't give it power, because then you're giving power.
Yep. Every time you catch yourself saying it, just pinch yourself.
Use it as an awareness tool.
Just flick yourself like, no.
Yeah, no, that's solid.
Work around it. Stretch your bandwidth, stretch your threshold, and you'll find you'll feel that way less and less and less.
Faux show.
All right, friends, remember, you deserve to live the life that you desire. Go out and create your new American dream.